Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Erika Tazawa, who serves as Director of Choral Activities for Wayne State University's College of Fine Performing and Communication Arts. I know that was a whole lot there, but Erika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, so I am so excited to obviously have you on the show, and certainly in our, if you will, home neck of the woods in Southeast Michigan, Wayne State, one of our wonderful creative partners. So I'm really excited to talk to you because obviously we're able to see a lot of the impact of your work up front and close, and as one of the key, artistic and cultural and educational treasures in our community. Maybe first, just for our audience, if you could kind of share what falls under your purview at Wayne State and kind of just give us a sense of the choral activities that are taking place.
Yes, thank you. So I direct two choirs. One is an auditioned group, and the other one is open for everybody on campus. So that does not require any auditions. And so some singers are very experienced, and some are singing for the first time. So it's a really, really fun group to get started on singing. And then I also lead the graduate choral conducting program.
Awesome. Absolutely. It's just so great. And as you're kind of, preparing, right, this next generation, at this point, are there any kind of key things that you are seeing that you're like, we need to get this right for our students? Like, as we think about what the needs are in the world that they're entering post university, are there kind of several key things that you're like, this is what we really need to make sure we get right with them?
Yeah. So, as a professor that is kind of closer to the current students' age, I am kind of seeing them feeling like, okay, I can probably come to you with specific questions like, what did you do to get to this place? And I feel like I'm a older millennial generation. And so I feel like I'm sort of in the bridge of I was trained by people who came from a very traditional conservatory type model of training. And I went through my, early professional years really having to figure out a lot of other things besides just being really good at doing music. And I think that trend is not going away, right? Like everyone needs to have all of the skills. Of course, you have to be the great artist that you can be, but also there are so many other things, just having to navigate the current just life situations. How do you support yourself while you're building your career? How do you work with the next generation of children? Like these are the things that just I think we're much more aware of, and certainly the current students are just so aware. They just have such a deep understanding of the world around them, and they really want to contribute. So I'm always just like trying to be as informed as possible so that I can be the best help that they can get.
Totally. I love that. And especially kind of just that broader sense of, who are these human beings we are helping to prepare to enter into the world. And as you were talking about that kind of broader sense, right, of who they are and all of the things they have to think about and really have a good grasp on. Do you have kind of a sense of, people, always seem to be, are talking about, this is a period of time that we're in as a society or as a nation, et cetera, and wondering about the role of the arts, how you feel like kind of when you think about empowering young people and how they can speak and create and interpret and and experience through the arts. Just curious, do you have any sense of kind of that role of the arts in society, or that you talk about with students?
Yeah, I believe that, well, besides just like having the best of the best artists always pushing the boundaries and, creating something new and exciting and that speak to everybody. I think art can be so important in the community aspect. It can be just like a neighborhood that you belong to, and choir especially. I think because we all. If you have a voice, you can be in a choir. So I feel like it's such a great entry point to being a part of the arts community, and that's what I really focus on. Is doesn't matter if you have 10 years of experience or if you're doing this for the first time. If you are in the choir, you're your neighbors. You are creating this community of friends or helpers like that you can also bring after you're done with school. So I think that's just like a reminder for me every day. Yes, I'm an educator, I'm a conductor, but I am the creator of this community that people can belong to.
I so love that. I so love that. And kind of speaking of community, right? Sometimes, especially university environments, sometimes can be a little insular, and or not necessarily looking out to their communities. So I was curious, how do you view then your work at Wayne State, but also embedded in the broader Detroit, Southeast Michigan community? And kind of what's your sense and approach to that connectivity to the broader cultural community and various partnerships?
Yes. So I am brand new to Michigan. I just started at Wayne State this past year. So I am really learning about the great Detroit community and the great artists and the people who lead these organizations. And what I'm finding out is that people are so open to new ideas. And, I'm a fresh Detroiter person. And then I just go into their doors and just say, could I just pick your brain about this? And nobody has turned me down. And so I think there's a desire for more connections. And I think especially Wayne State just being right in the middle of downtown, or sorry, midtown. It's just like it's a literal just walk in the neighborhood to get to another place, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more projects together and more creative ways to not have. It does not have to be such a sort of high profile concert at a fancy venue. I think there's just more ways for students to be in the community and sharing music, and I'm looking forward to exploring that.
That I think that really is, and you're so right about, our community. There really is such a kind of a rich texture and tapestry that comprises our cultural community, and so many joint partnerships and collaborations and all of that. So I think that will just really be tremendous as
Yeah.
you're kind of thinking through just towards, this next, say, unfolding year. Any key things that you're looking forward to, or looking and saying, oh, you know what, I think this is really going to be, kind of an exciting thing that we have coming up, or, opportunity, especially with our students and with our community.
Yeah. So this is just like my background and just who I am as a musician. But I started out as a pianist who trained really seriously, and sort of even after I transitioned into full-time conducting, I have always kept up my pianist side. So this is not necessarily a part of my role as the director of choral activities at Wayne, but I am performing with chamber musicians. I'm performing with the Detroit Symphony, and I am also a vocal coach. And so I'm working with people who are more in the opera side than the choir. And so, like, I think I sort of like stepped into this role, just kind of like accidentally having this background that just connects not just this choral music that can be sort of like an isolating a part of a classical music world, but maybe we can have a more technology built in, or some more symphonic works that's not necessarily the master works, like these kinds of like smaller opportunities. And then of course the longtime partners, like medical institutions and other schools and other organizations that really work with young children. I think it would be really, really fun to find creative ways to perform.
Absolutely awesome. Well, it's so great. And as I'm thinking, unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but I always like to ask of all of my guests the breadth of this work, right? And especially what you just described and kind of these varying interests and being able to experience and express yourself creatively in these multiple ways. There still must be these tough days. And just wondering on kind of days when it's tough as an arts leader, are there any kind of key mechanisms or things that you do that kind of help you get through the toughest of times?
Yeah. So just always reminding myself the big picture, the all of the long-term goals always come with just ebb and flow. And if I'm making a small step forward, that's always going to contribute to the long-term goals. So just seeing the big picture and making the small step forward.
Erika Tazawa, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything you're doing at Wayne State in our community, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.